All right, good evening, everyone. For the record, my name is Chief Manny, M-A-N-N-Y, Marino, M-A-R-I-N-O. So to begin, earlier today, shortly before 1 p.m., we received a call reference a armed suicidal male in the 5900 block of Jandon Court. Officers responded to that area, located the residence in the 5900 block of Jandon Court, and attempted to make contact with that suspect. In doing so, the subject suddenly emerged and charged at one of the officers and was in fact armed with a knife. The officer gave him several verbal commands to drop the weapon, which he refused to do, at which point the officer discharged his firearm, striking the individual. Once the threat was stopped, the officers then began life-saving procedures, but unfortunately the individual succumbed to his injuries. And at that point was pronounced deceased at the scene. Fortunately, though, no Port Orange police officers were injured during this incident. At this time, this is an ongoing investigation and active, obviously. We have turned this investigation over to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement per our policy and procedure, and also the involved officer has also been placed on administrative leave. That's also according to policy. At this time, we are not going to be distributing the individual's name, as we are still working on next of kin notifications or releasing any other information at this time.
Chief, have you been to this address before, and have you encountered this man before on any occasion whatsoever?
That's part of the investigation we were looking at today. I can't confirm that. I heard that we may have been, but as I said, I'd rather be able to have a definitive answer on that question. But.
And I know also that some departments have, when it comes to someone attempting suicide, there are different officers trained in this. Were there officers called out to this house? Were these officers trained in dealing with someone of this nature?
And it depends on the situation. This one was fluid. We do have and are part of the regional crisis negotiations team. And if it permits, in the best case scenario, that's, you'll make the scene secure, establish, that it's safe, and then call in your negotiators. This just happened so quickly with the individual coming at the officer. So there wasn't time to do those things, but that is a protocol that we do have, and just unfortunately in this case was not able to be utilized.
And lastly, can you tell us about the officer, male or female, that fired their weapon? How long they've been with the department?
Younger officer, but he's been here a little bit over 2 years at this point, and hopefully we'll be releasing some more information on the officer, but has been here for a bit of time.
Can you say how many times the officer fired his weapon, how many shots hit the individual?
At this point, I'm still waiting for that updated information. That's part of, as I said, FDLE's investigation. The officer was obviously cooperating with the investigation earlier, and that's some of the things obviously they're looking at, but I don't have a definitive number yet, no.
Did the officer have a body-worn camera?
He did.
Will you be releasing that video at some point?
I'd have to coordinate with FDLE. Obviously, as I said, even though it's our officer, our department, at this point, this investigation has been turned over to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. So at some point, I just don't have a timeline for that.
Was he the only officer who fired, Chief?
Yes. There were 2 officers on scene, but only 1 fired.
Who called 911?
I don't know yet whether it was a family member. We did receive the call via 911, and there was a mention of weapons, specifically a knife, and that the person was suicidal.
Were there other people in the house at the time, and how many?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Do you know what kind of a knife it was?
I do not.
Do you know if there were other weapons in the house?
I have not. When I was out at the scene earlier, but then I came back to the station, so.
So as far as this male, suicidal, and that's it. I hate to ask this question, but I would be remiss if I didn't. Do you think this was a suicide by cop? What do you think?
Preliminary indications, it potentially could be, judging by the way the call came in. But once, we were able to put all those pieces together and able to look at the body-worn camera, and obviously they're out, canvassing those neighborhoods and talking to some of the neighbors, and help us to put this, get a better handle on what actually and everything that occurred out there. But by judging by the way the call came in, that's what it's appearing to head that direction.
Can you comment on how much de-escalation training your officers have, this officer may have had?
I couldn't tell you. It was actual personnel training numbers. They do go through de-escalating training, de-escalation training as part of their training when they first get to the police department, and then we continuously train. But I couldn't tell you how much he's had specifically.
And you said you think you may have had one other call there, but do we know the purpose of that call? Was it a similar situation?
I do not. I do not know.
Any idea what could have led to him wanting to potentially harm himself?
At this point, I do not know.
Does it happen a lot that there's frequent calls about suicide of people like every day, and this is just a rare case where it escalates like this, or?
Yeah, in general terms, yes. I mean, calls regarding people that potentially are looking to harm themselves or just suffering some type of mental illness episode are definitely part of policing today. It's just something we deal with on a daily basis. Rare to see it go to this extreme, and unfortunately this one did. But in most cases, we're able to help people get to where they can receive either treatment or get the help that they need, which is obviously always our end goal.
Thank you, Chief.
All right. Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.